Grandma, Daddy's mom, spoke beautiful Hawaiian. And it was so funny because I had never heard my daddy speak Hawaiian for long, in long conversations. In Shanghai, Dad used to just scold me in Hawaiian or say short little things in Hawaiian, but there was never any conversation with anyone, just totally Hawaiian. So here's my daddy walking up the stairs, and Grandma's talking to him in Hawaiian. He's talking to her in Hawaiian, and the both of them are going 240 speaking in Hawaiian. Okay? And her name was Lucy Luukia Ako. And her husband, who I never met because he had passed away, my grandfather, his name was Ali Nip, or Nip Lee, one of those two. Okay? And I never met him because he had passed away. So Grandma Ako was there. And then there was her oldest son, Uncle Charlie, with his 4 children. No, I'm sorry, 3 children. And then there was Auntie Helen with her 3 children, and Auntie Rose with her 2 children. So Auntie Helen had 2 boys and a girl. Uncle Charlie had 2 girls and a boy, and Auntie Rose had 2 girls. So here we had all these cousins living in this house, and this two-story house had 2 bedrooms upstairs, 2 bedrooms downstairs, and a bath in each floor. And they had a huge house at the back, which they called the kitchen house. The entire length of the house was a long house, and the entire length of the house was the kitchen. And what they did is they built an attached little bedroom next to the kitchen house where they provided a place for Dad and my sister Ellie and me and Kui. And that's where we lived. And it was quite an experience because the first meal that we had there at the Lee house was at this huge, long picnic table. It was very long, with picnic benches on both sides, with Uncle Charlie at one end, and Auntie Helen and Auntie Rose at the other end. And Uncle Eddie didn't come yet. He was living in another place. And Uncle Paul was living in Paua with his wife. So we had our first meal there. And it was quite an experience because after having lived in a very continental fashion with servants serving you and the table always set with the best china and everything, here we were at a picnic table with a huge mayonnaise bottle filled with utensils, all the spoons and the forks and the knives, etc. And then a plate with a pile of white bread in the middle and on the platter, and then the butter container there, and Uncle Charlie sitting at the very end, and Auntie Helen and Auntie Rose serving the food and putting the plates in front of everybody. And as soon as Uncle Charlie said the prayers, everybody started diving in and grabbing the bread and grabbing the butter and grabbing the forks and spoons. And, well, we weren't used to this because we were used to being waited on. And so we waited and waited, and nobody did anything. So Kui, and I was 5, so Kui must have been about 3. He's sitting at the table, and he was very hungry, so he started coughing. He went, "Excuse me, could you please pass me the bread and the butter?" In the very English fashion. And everybody stopped and looked at us. And Uncle Charlie looked up from his plate and looked at Kui and said, "Are you crippled or what?" And that was the instant learning situation for us, because then we realized that nobody was going to wait on us and we had to help ourselves if we wanted to eat. And that was very different from the lifestyle that we had in Shanghai.
And so when you guys went to this first dinner, you guys were all dressed in your...
Yes, we were dressed in our finest. I had my Shirley Temple clothes with a pinafore underneath, and patent leather shoes, and white socks.
And how was your cousins dressed?
They were barefoot, shorts, no shirt. They thought that we were very, very strange, and we thought the same. We thought that they were, who are these strange people? And they spoke in pidgin, so we didn't understand what they were saying, you know. But we learned very quickly. You know, children can adjust very quickly.